Kia ora, good morning. So I've been asleep. I've been up for a little while, but I've just kind of been lazing because I need to rest because I'm so tired. Fighting holy wars is exhausting, and I've been battling demons for the last couple of days for God and the Queen, and I'm exhausted. So I'm on a go slow today. So you're not gonna see me on a lot because I need to rest. So because remember God said that I needed to get my rest because I'm about to become very busy. Like a lot's about to kick off. So I've just been chilling out, and I was listening to Scary Mysteries. I follow him on YouTube, Andrew. I follow him on YouTube, and because he gives me lots of ideas for when I do my mysteries inside histories and connecting the dots and all that, you know. So for my radio shows and my TV show when I get out onto the road to be able to make it. Now with my shows connecting the dots and the mystery inside histories, all of that sort of thing, um, one's going to be for the radio, one's going to be for TV, and I'm inviting people to contact me to say, can you come and look at this for me? And then I go and investigate it because, as I've explained before, I've had many people in the past contact me in regards to missing persons cases and suspicious deaths and coroner's reports that didn't feel right. And so the loved ones and friends and families would come to me and say, can you have a look at this case and tell me what you think? And it was a great way for me to perfect my craft, which then obviously later turned into time jumping and quantum magnetics. And for a few years, I was documenting jumps via my email, and I've got tons of where I'd catch like a glimpse of something and I'd quickly type it out and then wait to see if it would happen. And everything's been ticked off the list. I put most of it up on Instagram, which has now been taken down, as you know, but there's still snippets of stuff on X and I think my LinkedIn, but I just document everything I see, and I do it via email because then it's time stamped and date stamped, so it's like proof. A lot of the stuff that I was investigating is gone now because of the losing the Instagram, but in the case of Sarm, I think that's not necessarily a bad thing. I have evidence that it was all put up there, and a lot of this isn't going to make sense to anyone because you're not an occult physicist. But when I was watching Scary Mysteries, the last case he talked about disappearances caught on camera. The last case he talked about was Sarm, and it triggered the memory of how I'm pretty sure just a couple of weeks before her disappearance, I caught her death in a jump, which you'll see in the description box. The last two links in the description box was me posting this jump that I'd recorded on the 22nd of February 2021. And now that I think I've figured out what happened, I've gone over it again because I investigated it. I looked at the tides, I looked at the kind of sharks that were around the water, I looked at if these sharks ate bodies. Like, I did all sorts of things, but there's one thing I missed, and I think it's because I wasn't supposed to catch it until now. And I've just looked at what I've written, and now I think I know what happened to her. I thought I had assumed he'd killed her and thrown her body over the water, into the water, so that she'd get eaten by sharks. But Andrew mentioned stuff, which is why I watch him, you see. Andrew mentioned stuff that I either didn't know or didn't pay attention to at the time, because you have to understand that I was living in an abusive household situation where I was being poisoned, and I was in survival mode. And then when I started posting this stuff on my X and Instagram in that 2023, 2024, I was recovering from the fight of my life. I was having to relearn how to eat food again because I'd been starved for so long, because my body had been fed so many drugs and toxins since around about 2018. I wasn't myself. I had to die. Like, they killed off a part of me, and I had to relearn how to live, basically. And it took me 3 years just to learn how to eat food again, because I was suffering from refeeding syndrome and all of that. So my body was rejecting vitamins and minerals, and I was struggling to survive. So the only way I can describe it, it's like I'd been put inside a spin cycle and then left to wander out into the world, to straighten myself up and wait for everything to stop spinning, because I'd just been thrown down into hell by devils and demons trying to sacrifice me to protect pedophiles and groomers and traffickers and devil worshippers. Which brings me to Sarm, because I've just re-looked at everything. I didn't notice she was taken from the Virgin Islands, and where her boat was moored, the siren song, which means the mermaid song, the water siren, right? The boat was later renamed Orion's Belt, which, if you know anything about the occult and Jeffrey Epstein and the worshippers of Baal and Baphomet and all of that, the cult that they're in, symbolism's everything to them. And Orion is the hunter, the three kings, but he's the hunter. And he's the son of Poseidon. So calling it the siren song and then Orion's belt, with Orion being the son of Poseidon, there's a lot of occult symbolism based around her disappearance. Now, the parents said that the police on the Virgin Islands, because like where she went missing on St. John's, Little St. James is right there, like right there. You can see a link in the map. But in the description box, I put a link for the map. Their boat was basically between Little St. James and St. John's, right, on the Virgin Islands. Now, if you look what I posted, I said that he drugged her, he got her drunk. People said they were acting fine, but that she was slurring. And then I said there were other people on the boat. Witnesses said they did hear other people on the boat. Somebody else said that they heard her scream. All my original evidence, unfortunately, has been lost to Instagram, but you can see why they keep trying to shut me up, eh? Because I'm trying, if your parents listen to this, I was re-going over everything I put in the original dump. I said a gunshot. He cleaned up the place. After he left, when he changed the name, apparently he made a lot of changes to that boat before he sold it. And one of the things he changed was the freezer. Then I said that she was put in the water. And I honestly thought maybe she'd been eaten by the sharks, that he'd fed her to the sharks, because I just felt like she'd been eaten. Now, she was 41. She would have been too young for virgin sacrifices and that sort of thing. But it's starting to look like one of the rituals that they have for March, for around the time she went missing, was an orgy. and then a blood drinking one, which would have been why he kept her in the freezer and then lowered her boat into the water, maybe using the anchor to do it. Into somebody collecting it at the bottom. Because even if sharks had got into her, they'd still find evidence. And people keep saying it's when people drown, even if they get eaten by sharks, this is all the stuff that I was investigating a couple of years ago. There's always evidence. I thought by putting her body in the water, attracting the sharks to eat her. But Orion is the three kings, and it looks like the time she went missing, there was I've put links in the description box for the devil worshipping black magic calendar. There was a ritual to Baphomet, who's member orgies and all of that, where it doesn't matter if the victim is male or female, you have an orgy with them, which is why I'm wondering, see, when the police cut the videotape off, they didn't let the parents see the whole tape. I'm wondering if it's because they were meeting people. They were meeting other people to head out to that boat, and I'm wondering if those people weren't Jeffrey Epstein and other people, because the Virgin Islands. And I always say that when the cops don't investigate, won't investigate, or hide evidence, it's because they're protecting people. And it was the Virgin Islands. She would have been too old for the stuff that they want the kids and, you know, the young girls that they traffic, but for sex and for blood sacrifices and for eating. There were festivals in the couple of days leading up to her disappearance where they wouldn't have needed a sacrifice, and Orion is the hunter. So it basically means she was taken to the island for that purpose. They hunted her down. She was chosen to be a sacrifice for Jeffrey Epstein and the cult of Epsteiners. Eridanus is right below Orion's belt. And you'll see I've put stuff in about Eridanus. Eridanus is a snake. To native people, Orion's belt is, you know, the navigator. You find everything by focusing on Orion's belt. And he was like, you know, out on his, he was a sailor. He sailed in his yacht and stuff. So Orion's belt is really important for navigators. I talk about the medicine wheel. It's all there, all the links are there. But Eridanus is a snake. And the Leviathan, they do a ceremony for Leviathan, who's a devil, who's a water snake. And yeah, Orion is also connected to Job, you know, the book of Job, where God and Satan put Job to the test to prove his loyalty. So I'm wondering whether it's a case of her ex, or the guy that she was with. If you want to join our club, you have to make a sacrifice, and he chose her. If you want to be part of our group, if you want to be part of the coalition of Epsteiners, you've got to make a sacrifice, because in order to get fame, money, fortune, control, power, whatever, you have to make a sacrifice of somebody. It's usually you have to kill the person you love the most. But it's a show of loyalty to the devil over all others, and it looks like he sacrificed her in order to fit in with to get in with the Epsteiners, because he was selling yachts and stuff, and they all have their yachts. They all buy yachts, and there's stuff in the Jeffrey Epstein files in regards to buying and selling yachts, being given yachts as presents, and he would have been making a lot of money. They would have been like, well, if you want to do this, we can make you rich, and because he was already quite wealthy, and now he wants to be a pilot. And in connection to the Highway of Tears, remember I said they fly them out. They fly a lot of the girls, a lot of the victims that went missing in the Highway of Tears. They fly them out. So it sounds like Bohemian Grove, like he made a sacrifice to be part of the Bohemian Grove, Molac, Jeffrey Epstein cult. Like David with Celeste, they always have to kill someone in order to get their contract. And it sounds like he killed her. If you look at the calendar, she went missing on the 7th, and the days after her disappearance, there's a ritual for Baphomet that's an orgy one, and then a bloodletting one. And remember him changing his freezer, it sounds like he may have kept her in the freezer for a while so that they would have access to what they needed. And then if you look at the calendar, there's ones where they have to consume the flesh, there's ones where they have to just consume the sex organs and like they're sick. And it's all based on the Druidian calendar. And remember I was saying the other day about Exeter University doing degrees in occult science, and I said it's the Druids. And from Druids came pagans, and then from pagans came the Wiccan witches. They're all low grade, all down in the lower echelons. They're like just a few steps below devil worshippers. And that's what I was saying. The Illuminati are recruiting through this course at Exeter. So I'm trying not to say too much because I don't want to upset her family. But this is just my opinion, and I've obviously had to rethink what I thought I was seeing when I originally documented the jump. And I'm well aware of the fact that obviously her friends and family and that are trawling the internet looking for any and all signs of information. And this is one avenue people haven't thought about. And it's one avenue I didn't go down because I either wasn't paying attention or it wasn't information that was available to me at the time. But now that I have realised how close she was to Little St. James and the connection he would have had to the people, it sounds like that she was handpicked to be a human sacrifice so that they could have access to her blood and that. I've been trying to find where witnesses said they saw other people on the boat, that it looked like there were other people on the boat. There were people that saw them on the boat together, and they do drug you, and before they sacrifice you, they do drug you and give you alcohol and stuff so that you don't put up a fight. And if I find it, I'll put it in the link, but I could have sworn that I found an article where people were saying they saw other people on the boat. Because in what I documented, I said there were other people on the boat. There were other people in and around that boat. And now I'm thinking it might have been the ones who helped take her life and take her body. And it would explain why he had so much work done on the boat, because then they wouldn't have If they put luminol or anything like that, they wouldn't find it. And because they didn't do their job anyway when they investigated it, because they're paid off, aren't they? They're paid to shut up. The Virgin Islands police and that, they're paid to shut up. Too much money. Billionaires were spending too much money in and around that island because of Epstein for them to go investigating the murder of a nobody from the United Kingdom. But she's not a nobody to her friends and family, and she's certainly not a nobody to God, which is why I was told to document her death in the couple of weeks before it happened. I documented it the 22nd of February. She went missing on the 7th of March. So it was important for me to document that jump. And it's only just now because of Andrew and Scary Mysteries that I even realised that he'd changed the freezer. I'm trying not to put too much out there in case your friends and family hear this, but all the links are in the description box below. And if you have any questions or you need my help for anything, I'm just putting it all out there. This is just another alternative, another explanation. I know it's not necessarily what anyone wants to hear, but given the information and given what I know about the occult, and given the fact that I've spent since 2016 hunting down everyone connected to Jeffrey Epstein and the pedophile ring and human trafficking ring, and it's why I was locked up, it's why I was almost killed 4 times, it's why they've been coming after me. Her disappearance now makes a lot more sense. It means that, unfortunately, unless they've documented stuff in those emails that Trump is trying to hide, it means that you're probably never going to have anything to bury. They either incinerate the bones and then use the ash for rituals, or you're never going to find remains, if my hunch is correct. But all you have to do is look at their almanac and then look what I put up about Eridanus. And because the other thing is, I was talking about the Horse's Head Nebula, which is, by the Orion's Belt. It's part of when you want to find the Horsehead Nebula, you look for the Orion's Belt, and it just keeps taking me back to becoming spellbound and taking me back to Epstein. Now, the fact that Orion's Belt is called Three Kings, who are the Three Kings? Were they sacrificing her to get at Prince Charles, King Charles? Was it a sacrifice to help bring down the Holy Trinity, the Three Kings? Or is the Three Kings Molech, Balaam, Baphomet? In their mind, it could be Molech, Balaam, Baphomet. They're the 3 main gods that there's Belial and all that as well, Leviathan, there's all those ones, but the 3 main gods, the most powerful ones for them, is Molech, Balaam, Baphomet, and Molech's the one that they worship at Bohemian Grove. And she was heard screaming, someone heard her scream. So I'm wondering whether they tried to get her to have the Shrek shrills, or she was plucking up to have the Shrek shrills, and then they sacrificed her. And they usually do shoot them, they either shoot them or stab them, and I said shot. That they put something over her and shot her. Because on a yacht, exsanguination or stabs and that, there would have been too much blood evidence. But they would have had to have shot her somewhere. I'm so sorry if her parents and that are listening to this. They would have shot her somewhere where they would have been able to get enough blood out of her for the purposes of drinking it, for the ritual that was coming, for the equinox. And then they would store her body in the freezer, or body parts in the freezer, because remember, they love human organs, they love organs. And then take anybody off the boat to dispose of it. So when he said his anchor alarm went off, they probably used the anchor to lower her body down so that they could take her away to Little St. James. And then paid the police to shut up. Because I'm wondering whether the reason why, because the parents said when they watched the tape, the cops turned the tape off. And they were seen getting into their dinghy, and I'm wondering whether what they caught on video was them meeting up with other people, probably, hazard to guess, Epstein and Ghislaine, or, yeah. Because she would have been too old for anything other than human sacrifice. And she was British, so if this was part of their ritual to take down the British monarchy, it would make sense. The three kings, the Holy Trinity, the three bloodlines, the Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit, the King, Russia, and moi. Which COVID really helps. The COVID vaccines would really, really help. Like, it's all tying into everything I said. It's all the same people, all the same thing, for all the same reasons. That's how sick they are. And the disturbing part is, everybody in my life helped them. All my friends, my family, my husband, my ex-husband, like all of them, all helped them. They're all helping bring down the king. They're all helping bring down Russia. They're all helping bring down, well, they all tried to help bring down the king, all tried to help bring down Russia. They all tried to help bring down me. They're the reason why the beast system is now going to affect billions of people on the planet. They are the new axis of evil. They are the Nazis. They are the new Nazis, the new axis of evil. And they've exposed billions of people around the world now to the beast system, and them threatening to vaccinate everyone to specifically target royal bloodlines. So well done, Christopher. Well done, Martin. Well done, Rocio. But God's exposed them. The hammer of God is coming down on this like you wouldn't believe. And I know ordinarily this would sound far-fetched, but the thing is, the evidence speaks for itself, the truth. You can't hide the truth. And I see the truth hidden in the darkness. I see the truth and pull it out from all the lies. I see it. It's just like Morse code. And I might get glitches in that, but God always makes me go back and recorrect the things that I misunderstood, just like with the Jack the Ripper murders. And I was spot on about the Jack the Ripper murders. I even, I went back and I fixed that. I went back and I fixed, what was the other things I fixed? The Aileen Moore mystery, the lighthouse. I went back and fixed that. God always makes me recorrect it when I get stuff wrong, or I oversee things, or it's because new information hasn't come to light yet, but he always makes me go back and fix it, because the universe can't evolve on glitches. And that's what the nebulas are for. I've been saying it from day one. Nebulas iron out the glitches, smooth out the glitches in the universe, all the lies and the fallacies and all the misunderstandings and all the mistakes that have been made and everything they can, because they know nothing about the occult. Their understanding of the occult is just embarrassing with how backwards and Neanderthalic it is. It's so backwards. But see, I speak the language of my ancestors, which is, I speak the language of the navigators. So when it comes to the universe and the cosmos and Orion's belt and understanding all of that, that's my language. And when I started reinvestigating it all just a few minutes ago, I started to see the threads and I thought, oh my God, she was in a cult ritual. She was in a cult sacrifice. They sacrificed her for Jeffrey Epstein as part of their plan to bring down the royal family, the Three Kings bloodline. And when you look at the birth of Christ, they're trying to stop the second coming because they want Ukraine as the New Jerusalem. They're trying to stop Russia from getting the New Jerusalem, and they keep making these sacrifices during certain phases and all of that because they think it's going to give them power, because they think it's going to help them get away with what it is they're trying to do. But God's just pulled the veil back. He just keeps pulling the curtain back and going, look, see what they're doing? And I'm the one that he's getting to be the finger pointer because I'm the only one brave enough, because everybody else in my life, they were too cowardly. They don't have the guts to stand up to the people I've had to stand up to on my own because they're cowards. They take the coward's way out. They'll take the contracts and the money and the things they've been promised and the gifts they've been bought and the sex they get to have and the followers they get to have and all that sort of thing, because it's easier than standing up to the dark side and saying, God said no. But I don't give a shit because I don't answer to anyone but God. Atom is who I speak for. Atom is who I see on behalf of. I'm the eyes of Atom. I'm the voice of Atom. I'm like his conduit. I am the conduit for the ever expanding conscious creative universe. That's the language I speak. I might not speak Māori, I might not speak the language of my people, but I speak the language of my ancestors, who was created by the atom. And the atom remembers everything, and nebulas smooth out, iron out all the kinks and all the glitches so that the universe can keep expanding. I keep saying it's like, when a carpet fitter comes down and he rolls the carpet out, he puts the underlay on and then he rolls the carpet out. Remember, how they have that thing on their knee that they use to shove the carpet under the skirting so that they can nail everything in so that the carpet is completely smooth? That's what a nebula does. And when I was going through, looking through, what was happening around that time and why he named the boat this, that and the other thing, and it was talking about the nebulas, the Horseheads Nebula, and it's like this is directly linked to their plan to take down the royal family. Every time I think of horses now, every time horses come up in the codes, it immediately takes me to becoming spellbound. And King Charles. So, the three kings who followed the North Star to lay gifts at the feet of Christ, that's the three wise men. Some people call them the three sisters for Orion's belt, but for them it would be the three kings because they have no respect for women. Women are nothing to them. They're a disposable commodity. So these would have been the three kings, but the three kings for them would either have had to have been Baphomet, Baal and Molech, or the Holy Trinity bloodline. However, because he's the hunter, Diana, because he's and the son of Poseidon, it's more than likely that they were using the three devils because you know they like a Neptune and a Poseidon. If you know when Donald Trump and Keir Starmer tried to pull that shit off the coast of the UK with Venezuela, the boats that they used there were Poseidon and Neptune. And those boats were came from the Caribbean around the same islands where she went missing. But it looks like that they've been making these sacrifices to, well, like I said, take the king down. But God and the Queen are like, no, no, that's not going to happen. No, we're exposing everything you're doing. Little by little, their victims are starting to rise from the dead to lend their voice to this fight to bring them all down. And it looks like Sarm Heslop is one of them. And I didn't see it before, but I see it now. And now that I see it, I can't unsee it. And I'm so sorry to her parents and her friends and family. This would be devastating for them to find out that if I'm correct, they knew she was going to die before she met him on that boat. She'd been chosen. And they knew exactly what they were going to do. So I just wish I could find that article where witnesses on other boats said they saw other people on that boat. So all the links are in the description box below, and when I get out of here and I'm able to hit the road, I want to do the mystery inside history. I would love to be able to go to London and do like the Whitechapel stuff, like see it all for myself. But I also, because it's anything unsolved, anything where, sorry, I haven't eaten yet, my stomach's starting to gurgle. With the mystery inside history, it's like when I go home and see my sister, and I go and visit my nephew in Australia. When I take his contract to him, he's going to take me on the Ned Kelly walks, and I want to like time jump and see stuff there. But with the mystery inside history, I'll be people can contact me and say, like, can you? Oh, my stomach! I'm so sorry. I need to eat. Um, can you come and look at this case for me? I lost a loved one, or this happened in this house, or blah, blah, blah. It's anything strange, mysterious, supernatural, unsolved, myths, legends, urban legends, that sort of thing. And then, I'll use my investigation skills as well as my abilities and everything I know to help try and find answers to it. So, oh, God, my stomach. I'm just trying to think if there's anything else. I mean, it's all there. I explain everything about Eridanus, Orion's belt, the Horsehead Nebula. Like, it's all there in the links. It's all connected to when they do their sacrifices and why. And like I said, Orion is the son of Poseidon, and he was killed by a Scorpio. And I'm a Scorpio. So he's killed by a scorpion, and I'm a Scorpio. But we know how Donald Trump and that like to use Neptune and Poseidon in their rituals. So, my body's about to start, I can feel it starting to rise up into my throat. So I'm going to go now. All the links in the description box below, but if Sam's parents need anything, I'll put my email address in there as well. Um, but that's just my opinion. This is just, you just take everything I say with a grain of salt until you have actual evidence, and that for as a court of law, I'm just throwing my hat into the ring. But it looks like, once you see it, you can't unsee it. It would explain why her body completely vanished, and also why the police shut it down. It's just because you have to understand, with them, symbolism is everything. The names they give, the times, the dates, the numbers. When they post, they post at specific times. They use specific names, specific words. It's all part of their in plain sight ritual that everybody else completely glances over, but I see it because I'm an occult physicist and I see the glitches. So then when I come and I expose everything and investigate it, the nebulas then smooth it all out, because the glitches in the matrix that has sewn the fabric of the timeline of human evolution is smoothed out. Because when mankind has done anything wrong, it's sewn into the fabric of our timeline. Like, when you're sewing or when you're knitting and you drop a stitch and then there's like a big gaping hole. Well, it's the opposite. When you do something wrong, when you're sewing and you get like little knots in the thread, that's how the universe is. That's how the universe expands. And when there's knots in the thread of the fabric of the conscious universe timeline, that every living person on the planet throughout history is responsible for weeding and threading, when there's knots and glitches, it stops us from expanding, it holds us back, it pulls us back, because the thread has to be able to move like a rubber band without anything stopping it. But like with a rubber band, if you put knots on a rubber band or put knots in a never-ending spool of thread, you're always going to be cut short to its true length because it's held back by the knot. Well, nebulas come along and smooth all of that out. But it has to be exposed, and that's what I do. I expose the glitches in the matrix. I expose the little knots and the threads and the fabric of our timeline. And by recorrecting the imbalance, everything smooths out. But I'm one person dealing with millions of people who think they're witches and pagans and Wiccans and devil worshippers and doing black magic and that are just constantly knotting up the fabric of our timeline. And so that's why we're stuck in perpetual wars and human sacrifices and, destroying the planet, chopping down trees, hurting animals. This is why we're still living in the dark days. We're still living in dark times, because there's too many people out there that think they know what they're doing with the occult when they're actually making it worse for mankind. Like what Chris and Martin and Rocio and Santaro and all that, they thought they knew better than the occult physicist who developed the science. And by them thinking they knew better than the teacher, they completely screwed it up for everybody else on the planet. Now, everybody else on the planet is having to pay for the mistakes that those morons in my life made by thinking that I was a threat to their success and their ego and their fame and all of that. And because I humiliated those doctors and called out those cops for lying and fabricating documents, and because I called out Elon Musk and Donald Trump and Keir Starmer and all the rest of them, because I won't tolerate it, because I won't lie for nobody. I've learned my lessons, I've made my mistakes, I've cleared my karmic debt. I will never go back to hell for nobody. So I stand in my truth now, and I only speak the truth even if it kills me, and they've tried. because you can't lie in the presence of God. And trust and believe when I say I am surrounded by God. I am God's precious little bloody princess. I've paid my dues, and I won't lie for nobody no more. I won't lie to myself, I won't lie to the world, I won't lie to anyone, because I don't want to go back to the hell that I just escaped. And so even that it's cost me everything and everyone, other than one sister and 3 nephews, I'll still stand in my truth and expose these devils and demons who are wearing masks in front of the world, pretending to be people that they're not, when behind closed doors they're doing the most horrendous things and making the most horrendous plans and trying to pull off the most evil, nefarious, disgusting acts against humanity that history's ever seen behind closed doors, that they don't want you to know about, that they've been doing since before the Bible was written, because the Bible was written on a lie. And by everybody believing the wrong thing about God and Satan, and everybody practicing the occult wrong, because they thought they knew better than Adam himself, who created the whole concept of consciousness and conscious awareness and faith and energy in correlation to frequency equals evolution. They've screwed it up for everyone. And so when I build my foundation, and we have Amber's School of Alchemy, which is, you know, the whole premise of the first sign for our Harry Potter movie, and I'm actually doing classes and showing people how to do it the right way, but not everybody is allowed to come and be a part of that class, part of that school. I'll be showing them how to do it the right way, and then I've got more backup to take down the deceivers and who the deceivers are sent to work for, which is the Illuminati, the New World Order, the coalition of Epsteins, all of them. They're all the same thing. But the King Charles, is protected. The Queen and God they're over their dead bodies will they let anything happen to King Charles, and they keep letting me know that. Don't give up on him. And the same with Vladdy. Vladdy's protected as well. The stuff that they're trying to say about him and Russia at the moment is absolutely horrendous. I can't even go anywhere near X because of the lies. The lies, man. Oh my God. They're trying to make out like he's in hiding because all his generals in there are going to have a mutiny. Why would you have a mutiny against someone who's trying to rescue Ukrainians and Russians from a Slavic genocide? So he pisses me off, and sometimes I think, God, if he was here, I'd just throw bread at his head. But I keep being told, don't give up on him. Don't give up on him. Don't give up on the King. Keep pushing, keep fighting, keep breaking those barriers. Because the Holy Trinity is important for the second coming of Christ. And when they kill people like Sarm, it's to stop the second coming of Christ. They want to control everything, from who has babies, how they have babies, where they have babies, when they have babies, and who the baby's parents are, because they need to make sure that the King David bloodline doesn't create the second coming of Christ. And poor Sarm has fallen prey to it, unfortunately. When you click on all the links that I put in the description box below, taking into consideration everything I just said, and follow the trail, you're not going to be able to unsee it, unfortunately. And if your parents ever hear this, I am so sorry. But the only thing I can say to bring a little bit of light to the situation is that your girl sacrificed herself. Your girl when she was born, her soul would have known that she would have been a martyr for something far greater than any of you could understand at the time she went missing. And that her death, like Celeste and all the rest of them, Maddie, McCann and all of the rest of them, were so that eventually the cult responsible for all of their pain and suffering and their disappearances get exposed and are held accountable not only in the courts of law but in the eyes of God as well. Donald Trump is already having his soul removed as we speak, and Keir Starmer and von der Leyen, the process has started with them as well. And these are all people who are part of the coalition of Epstein. They purposefully injected the king and the royal family and the queen and Diana and all of that into it for the purpose of them being thrown to the wolves, because they're the ones that hold the most power when it comes to the bloodline for the Commonwealth and the Slavic bloodlines and all that. The British royal family, their bloodline holds the most power for what it is they're trying to exterminate. And people like Sarm martyred themselves so that they would be caught and held responsible, so that when they are all caught and taken down and held responsible, we get a much better world as a result, where our children will be safe again. We will be able to go back to not having our brain scanned, not having forced to wear digital beast systems. AI will die, AI will get removed. We'll go back to tradition where you can unlock your doors at night and keep your windows open and not have to worry about being robbed, stabbed, beaten, murdered, sexually abused. It'll be safe to walk down the street again. Cops will be honest, judges will be honest. They're the biggest glitch in the matrix there is, and I'm helping chip away at that glitch slowly. Every day I get up and chip away at that glitch and expose more and more and more of the glitch in the matrix. It's just what comes next is everyone needs to wake up and finally say no and go down to their parliament or whatever. They all need to band together, not in the thousands, in the millions. It needs to be like a colony of ants all over the world, where everybody's going down and demanding resignations and demanding elections, where nobody who has an association to any other country on the planet is then put in power. Don't put anyone in power who wants the power. Don't put anyone in power who has a connection to the government or parliament already. There is no MP out there. There is no Prime Minister out there or President out there other than Pootie who has the best interests of the people at heart. I'm talking about all the countries that we know are corrupt, all the ones that are starting wars and forcing countries to have to defend themselves. Because they're bullies and they're evil. And we can take them down. They have no power over us. And if we all stand together, then parents like Sarm and the mysteries of, the disappearance of Madeleine McCann and that will all be solved. All the answers, it'll all be solved. All these mysteries that have been hidden inside history will start getting solved. Because that's what I do. Because that's my comic, The Soul Collector, Ruby. Detective Ruby Corazon. That's what she does. She time jumps and solves unsolved murders and all of that from the past. to clear the cases for the Ministry of Souls, because she works for the Ministry of Souls PD. So it's all connected. And she's speaking up. Sarm is speaking up. Now's the time. And I know it's not going to bring her back, but in the future, when you understand the grand scheme of how important her sacrifice was, her martyrdom was, you're going to realise that she was sent by God as a selfless angel to save millions of children in the future and to bring justice to millions of children from the past. And not just children. They sacrifice men and women and prostitutes and homeless people and people like me and animals, and they're chopping down the trees and all that. It's all sacrifices. And so people like her were angels who were sent so that their deaths would be a lesson to everybody else on the planet. And if I know that's not going to lessen the pain, but it means that your daughter was special, handpicked by God to be the one to help bring some of the most evil people in world history down as a coalition, as a collective, as a cult, including people in my own life. And then it means the war in Ukraine will stop, so they can't traffic any more victims, no more organ harvesting. The war in Iran will stop because they won't be defending the world against the coalition of Epsteiners. Kids will have happy, normal, safe lives again. Because when everybody wakes up, they're going to realise the hell they've been living in for the last few centuries. When the truth is all revealed, when people see I've been telling the truth about everything and the extent of what they've been doing to us since before Christ, when they wrote the Bible with the intent of tricking people into thinking Satan was the bad guy. They know nothing about the occult. But it means that when you look at the big freeze, everybody talks about the big freeze in the UK that happened in 1963, when you realise that that snow was laced with LSD to make people hallucinate. So that because they were using MK Ultra and testing the Mandela effect on people so that they could get away with killing JFK and all that, when you realise the lies, the extent of the lies of what we've been told about history, like the Aileen Moore, Jack the Ripper, the Black Dahlia, all the cases I've been working on, when you realise the extent of the lies and how far back it goes, once we get rid of them all, because people like Sarm are speaking up, it means that we will make sure that we never ever repeat that karmic cycle ever again. Ever again. And we do it right this time, and that's the birth of the new world. And when that happens, that's when you Christians and Catholics and that's when you get the conception of Christ again. And I'm pretty sure his parents are Russian. If they're getting the new Holy Land and the New Jerusalem and all that in the new world, then it's more than likely that's where Christ is going to get born, and he will be Slavic. Not Palestinian, he'll be Slavic. I think it's so beautiful that Christ born in Palestine created Christianity as the result of his martyrdom. And now we've got Iran, who are Islamic fighting for Christ to be born again, between Russia, the Orthodox Christians, and the Muslims. They're fighting to ensure the safe arrival and conception of the second coming of Christ for Christians and Catholics. So I have to keep defending and supporting King Charles and King Vladimir, because he is a king. He is a rightful heir. He does have rights to the throne of Russia. I've checked his heritage. His ancestry goes all the way back to Oleg. So, yeah, he is a rightful king to Russia, which is why they're after him, as is King Charles. So I need to stand by them because God and the Queen are asking me to. So as much as what I want to bang their heads together, I've got to keep pushing at it, hoping that they wake up and smell the bloody coffee, speaking of which my stomach's going grrr. So I've got to go now and get some food, otherwise I'm going to start slurring and get blurry vision and my sugar levels will drop because I'm hypoglycemic. And they all knew that, which is why they kept food away from me. They were hoping it would lower my blood pressure and stuff enough that I'd have a heart attack and make it look natural. Make my death look natural, but it wasn't working, so they helped it along with drugs and that. So anyway, so I'm going to go. So that's it. I've done what you needed me to do. Pop it, look, because I'm hungry. So I'm going to go. Oh, if you need me, Mr. and Mrs. Heslop, you know where I am. You're in Southampton, are you not? I'm in Yorkshire, Wakefield. And we'll see what happens, but yep. I'll speak to you later. I can't wait to make these shows in real life. Ka kite.